Well, hello again and welcome. I'm here at the beginning of the video just to apologise really for the very shaky footage, particularly going through the Greenberfield locks. I've cut quite a bit of it out. It was very windy that day. We were going through with another boat and everybody was struggling, but there we are. So it was quite difficult filming. So please bear with on that. I've cut it to a shorter section as I could really, but it gives you some idea of what Greenberfield locks are like. So there you go. Okay, enjoy this video. I hope you do, and we'll speak again soon. Bye now. Okay, Heath. I'll see you at the middle lock. Crikey Moses, that wind's got up a bit. Oh dear, that wind's blown her right into the edge. Oh, good recovery. Right, we're approaching Greenberfield top rock now. When we get to the top there, we're going to stop and fill it with water and everything before we go on. Sorry about that squeaking noise, that's my rudder bearing or something. I don't quite know what to do about it, but that's when we get to the boat now. Thanks very much. Yeah, we're mooring up for some water. I think that's right, that's what you're doing there, yeah. After a little bit of wobbly footage about filling up the boat with water, we're going to have a look at a historic vessel called Kennet. She's number 228 on the National Register of Historic Vessels. She is a Leeds and Liverpool Canal short boat built in 1947 by Yarwoods of Northwich for the Canal Transport Limited, and she was built as a general carrier. She was the last of 20 river-class boats built between 32 and 47. And she was taken out of service eventually in the early 1960s when she became part of the British Waterways maintenance fleet. In 1985, Kennet was adopted for use as an exhibition boat. And in 2011, she was taken over by the Leeds Liverpool Canal Society for education and for promoting the heritage of canals. Right, so here we are on our way to Barnoldswick, known by the locals as Barlick. There are two watercourses that run through Barnoldswick. One, of course, is the one that we're on, the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. The other one is Stockbeck. It's a very minor river, about 8 miles long, and it's a tributary of the River Ribble. Barnoldswick is in the district of Pendle, and that's where that famous witch trial occurred in 1612. Altogether there were 12 accused, of which 10 were executed. One died in prison and one was found not guilty. And of the 12 accused, 2 of them were men. I was a bit surprised about that. Well, Barnoldswick, it's the highest town on the Leeds-Liverpool Canal, and it's quite a long-established settlement, being mentioned in the Domesday Book, under a spelling which is not too dissimilar from its current spelling. Well, at least it's recognisable. The Wick part of the name suggests that Barnoldswick may have been a dairy farm. Wick was always often used in connection with dairy farms in 1086, that's when the Domesday Book was. So it may have just been a dairy farm at the time. When we lived in Ripon, we used to visit Fountains Abbey quite a lot, very regularly, because we were so close by and we were members of the National Trust. The connection is that in 1147, some of the monks from Fountains Abbey travelled to Barnoldswick, or Barlick, to set up a new abbey there. It's said that the locals objected to this and put as many obstacles in their way as they could. So in 1152, that's only 5 years later, the same monks moved to Kirkstall, just northwest of Leeds, to try and set up an abbey there. And there they were more successful, and the ruins of that abbey can still be visited today. And that's exactly what we did, when we were on our way up to Leeds-Liverpool. We stopped at Rodley and got the bus back to Kirkstall, the 60 bus, and had a lovely day visiting Kirkstall Abbey. This is just a bit of a by-the-by, but just mentioning that number 60 bus, anywhere between sort of Leeds and Keighley, that bus follows the route of the canal almost exactly, so you're never far away from a bus stop. And we found it really useful for getting around when we were doing that section of the canal. So that's the number 60 bus. Anyway, getting back to monks and abbeys, it was only 10 years after the monks left to go to Kirkstall that they decided to have another go at Barnoldswick, and didn't have much more success actually. They weren't able to establish an abbey there, but they were able to build a church, the Church of St Mary le Gill. That's between Barnoldswick and Thornton in Claven. So, and that's still there, that can be visited today. Barnoldswick remained a small settlement until the 1790s, when the second phase of the Leeds-Liverpool Canal was built, and Barnoldswick was then able to develop a woolen industry, and it became a very major cotton town. In modern times, however, Barnoldswick needs other things to keep the place going. So the main employers are SA Stoves, Silent Night Beds, Hope Technology for bike parts, and of course Rolls-Royce. And they form the major backbone of the employment in Barnoldswick. So the oldest established of the four industries that I've mentioned that keep Barnoldswick going today is SA Stoves, and they started manufacturing in 1854, and they are to date the oldest standing stove manufacturer in the UK. They boast several important customers, or well-known customers: Shackleton and Scott of the Antarctic, Alan Hinks, the mountaineer, and Hugh Fernley Whittenstall from River Cottage. They've all bought stoves from there. But the most important, or most well known of all, is probably Florence Nightingale. And she wrote to SA Stoves and said, do you think you could supply a stove for us for the hospitals that we run? And they did. And that stove was installed in Balaclava. And if you go onto the SA website, you'll see a video featuring the thank you letter that was written by Florence Nightingale for that particular stove. They also have a very nice factory cafe, which could be worth a visit. So Silent Night have quite a large factory in Barnoldswick, but they're quite a good example of how important a business name is. So Silent Night started off in 1946. It was started by a chap called Tom Clark, who called himself Tom Clark Mattresses, and he was based in Skipton. In 1952, only 6 years later, his wife said, you know, you're doing all right, but we could do a bit better, I think, if you changed your name to Silent Night, which they did. And before very long, they found themselves one of the largest manufacturing companies of mattresses in the UK. So change of name is quite important. Apart from making mattresses, the other thing that Silent Night are well known for is having the longest ever strike that occurred against one company, and their workers went out on strike from 1985 to 1987. As it happens, Tom Clark was still leading the company then, and he was a friend of Margaret Thatcher, so I don't know, there'd been a few political goings on, and I think he was trying to stand his ground. But anyway, after a little while, it did affect their company earnings, and the company ended up being taken over by a European company. So Hope Technologies is quite amazing, really. They have 100 employees in Barnoldswick. They started there in 1980, and all they make is parts for mountain bikes. Not mountain bikes, just parts for mountain bikes: brakes, gears, hub axles, that sort of thing. So if you have a mountain bike, the chances are some of the parts from it were made in Barnoldswick. So Rolls-Royce, I think, is the largest employer in the Barnoldswick area. I remember back in the, I think it would be the mid-70s, all the news about the development of the jet engine, the RB211 by Rolls-Royce. It was that engine that was adopted by Lockheed for all their planes, and that engine that catapulted Rolls-Royce to be a global aerospace industry. So, the RB series of engines by Rolls-Royce are now world famous, used by most of the major aircraft manufacturers. And the RB stands for Rolls of Barnoldswick. It's quite amazing, really. So there was an equally important development at about the same time in the mid-70s for the shipbuilding industry in Sunderland, and that was Austin and Pickersgill, and they developed a type of ship called the SD-14, which had a basic structure that then could be converted very easily into a bulk carrier, an oil carrier, or whatever. And of the eight, that was done they were built between 1968 and 1988. But despite delivering over 120 of these, 126 to be exact, of these vessels, it was not enough to save the UK shipping industry. Well, we're nearly at our destination now, where we're going to stop and do some shopping. So that isn't all about Barnoldswick. There's a lot more to it. If you're interested in steam engines, then a visit to Bancroft Mill could do you good, but that'll be for another time. So that's us all tied up for this video now. The next time we're going to be looking at Foulridge the tunnel and Foulridge the walk. So please subscribe for this and you'll get notification when the next video is applying. Thanks very much now. Bye.